Big Muddy Adventures is the first professional outfitter and guiding company that provides canoe tours of the Middle Mississippi and the Lower Missouri rivers. And joining us from Big Muddy Adventures are Big Muddy Mike Clark and Roo Yawitz. Welcome, Roo and Mike. Big Muddy Mike. All right, so Big Muddy Adventures. Mike, you started the company back early 2000s. Tell us a little bit about what you do, because who knew you can kayak and canoe on the Mississippi? I mean, seriously, who knew?
Interestingly, people have been paddling on these two rivers for 10,000 years.
Right. Interestingly, they have. That's true.
But so 15 years ago, I decided to paddle the length of the Mississippi River as an educational initiative. I was a teacher for 30 years, and this was a way that I thought I would be able to connect with students in a very unique way, which would be using the internet and then actually traveling down the river. So as I did that, paddled the from the source, Lake Itasca, to the Gulf, I literally felt like I had become one with the river in some sense. And I also found success with the teaching. And along the way, I met a man who had been guiding and outfitting on the river down in Mississippi. And we struck up a pretty good friendship and paddled the length of the Missouri River the following year together. And from that point, he convinced me that there was a viable business to be done if you stayed at it.
Yeah, so how many people are you taking out each year now? You can sign up
over the years, I think we're into thousands of people have done it. It's kind of quiet, but typically in a year, around 500 to 1,000 is.
And it's day trips, right? Like,
it's a multitude of things.
Okay.
I mean, there's a bunch of different trips that we offer. Full moon floats are one of our favorites, which is kind of an evening paddle by the light of the moon with a dinner cooked on a campfire. Then we do overnight trips, like we'll do a weekend with a group or a family or whatever.
Yeah.
And then we do an awful lot of day trips.
Yeah. Fantastic. All right, and you guys had a big thing come up this year. You're going to be on the Travel Channel next week with, well, tell us about it, Roo.
Sure, yeah. Well, we got an email from the Travel Channel from a show called Booze Traveler, which is a guy who is named Jack. He was a bartender in Boston who got a show on the Travel Channel to travel around the world trying different cocktails and exploring. So they had never done an episode in multiple locations, but they decided to do one on the Mississippi River. So they wanted to shoot in Minneapolis, St. Louis, and Baton Rouge.
Okay.
They couldn't find anybody in those other places to put them on the river. So in St. Louis, they found us, and we did a day trip with Jack and paddled with him in a couple of our canoes with a bunch of our friends that also paddle from North Riverfront Park up by the Chain of Rocks down to the Arch. And we had a great day with him, and he was pretty blown away, and we had a really good time. And the featured drink, because every episode has a different drink that he drinks in each location, he really wanted to drink a Mark Twain cocktail.
Okay, so that was his idea?
That was his idea,
and,
yes.
And he researched it, somebody researched it, and there really is one?
Yeah, there really is a drink. It was not made up. He is actually a huge fan of Mark Twain, so it wasn't just a random drink. Mark Twain is a Scotch cocktail that was not invented by Mark Twain, but I guess he was so enthusiastic about it that it ended up being called a Mark Twain. The story goes he was traveling in England in 1874. He wrote a letter back to his wife saying he had discovered this drink that was scotch, lemon juice, bitters, and crushed up sugar, or simple syrup. And he enjoyed it so much, he was currently having one before breakfast, one before lunch, one before dinner, and one before bed. So Mark Twain was having a fine time in England.
Yes, he was.
And I guess he drank so many of them, it became a Mark Twain.
That's awesome. Okay, then interesting. And I wonder what book he was writing at that time.
Exactly.
So, all right, so you guys had spent this day with the Booze Traveler. It's going to be on the Travel Channel next week.
Yes, Monday at 9.
That must have been a really, really fun day and a fun email or phone call you guys got from the Travel Channel when that all started.
Yeah, it was great. It was, we had a really good time. And, we love taking people out on the river, whether you're from, anywhere in the world. You can come to St. Louis and go out with us, or if you're from St. Louis, we'll take you out. But anytime we can highlight the river and the city at the same time on a national program, obviously, it's great.
Yeah, it's a great way to really experience one of the treasures of the city, getting out on the river. So, Mike, how do people go about scheduling a tour of their own? Are they custom tours? Are they group tours that are already scheduled? How does that work?
Well, we have, trips that we post, which are available to be booked on our website. But the nature of the river and the nature of what we do requires us to customize to some extent.
Absolutely.
You know, it's an adventurous thing. It's not a float trip, as most Missourians would know.
Right.
The size of the river and the distances we travel and the difficulty of getting on and off the river, because there aren't a lot of places that you have access to the river. So for that reason, we customize almost all of our trips, but we do have trips that you can book that are, you know, available, as I said, full moon float or things.
Sounds like a ton of fun. So thank you both for coming and sharing with us today. Good
Sure.
luck with the episode coming up next week. And please visit toomuddy.com to discover more about Big Muddy Adventures. And please stay with us here at STL Live. There's more right after this.